This podcast is brought to you by the North East BIC, thanks to funding from the Durham Social Boost Project provided via DCMS, helping social enterprises grow, supporting local businesses and driving innovation across our community. Thanks. Hi, welcome back to another edition of the Good Eggs podcast. We're here again today at Diego's Joint CIC in Sunnyside, Sunderland. My name's Anthony McDermott, and today we're going to meet the fantastic Andrew Billingham and Bronia Jackson from Time for Action. So, let's go and see them. Hello.
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 Welcome
Thank
to
you.
Diego's Joint. Thank you both so much for coming in, by the way. It's really, really appreciated. So yes, podcast time. What made you decide to sign up to this, eh?
Well, that was Bronia with that.
Basically, I didn't think it through, and I'm one of these people, if you get an opportunity, just say yes and then worry about it later. So that's what happened there.
Well, we're here now, so good. So today we're just going to have a little bit of a chat about you two, really find out a little bit about your background, find out a little bit about the new venture, which is really exciting.
Yes.
Time for Action, is that right?
Time for Action.
Yep.
Yeah.
Love that. Time 4, yeah, with a number 4, yeah.
Number 4.
Yeah,
Action.
and you guys are going to be a kick, is that right?
Yeah.
Yes.
It is fantastic. Okay, great. We're going to find out about all of the people that you want to help, all the people you've already helped, and anything else that we decide to talk about along the way. How does that sound to you?
Sounds brilliant.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Good. So, you two are a couple, is that right?
We are, yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Great, okay.
Thanks for pointing that out.
And how long have you been together?
Over 4 years.
I thought I'd let him answer and see if you remembered.
I like how you both looked at each other there as if to say, don't get it wrong. Don't absolutely get it wrong. Great, okay. So 4 years and now you've decided to go into business together. Has that always been the plan or?
For you,
It's always been the plan for me.
not for me. And then
yeah.
I kind of...
It took a while to twist her arm, but it's always been
I
my...
see the benefits now. I see the benefits.
Good. And where you both from?
I was brought up in Burtley,
Okay.
so Gateshead on the border of County Durham.
Yeah. What about yourself, Bronia?
Blythe.
Blythe, okay.
Yeah.
Miles away then.
Northumberland. I like to say Northumberland.
Great. And I guess did you meet 4 years ago and then immediately start seeing each other? Have you known each other a longer time?
Oh,
or?
should we be
No,
honest
no.
and say how we met?
You
Well, I'm
can
going to
if
have
you
to
want
now.
Tell us how you met. Go on.
It was Tinder.
Oh, wow. Happy days. That's very
It was
modern of you, isn't it?
Yeah, very modern.
Who swiped on who? Because I'm not really familiar how these things work.
I don't know.
I can't
don't-
remember. I fell back.
well, I'm
Let's
gonna
say we
say-
both did it. That was
Yeah, okay.
What was the first message? Can you remember that bit? Or are we allowed to show it on camera? Or?
It's nothing like that. I don't know. Yeah, you're supposed to be quite interesting on Tinder, aren't you?
Yeah.
But I feel like I was quite new to it, so I don't actually think I came across that interesting, to be fair. You were probably more interesting than me.
Do you think? It's a long time ago.
We'll talk about a long time ago. Let's take it right back to the beginning. I will speak to you both kind of separately and find out a little bit about your journey. So, Andrew, coming to you first. So, growing up in Burtley, what did you kind of hope to do with your life? So, I guess you come from a family, obviously. I'm assuming so.
Yeah.
And then, what did that look like? What was school like and things for you?
Well, I was always probably a little bit of a SWAT
Okay.
at school. GCSEs and things were A's and B's. And then I probably took my foot off the gas a bit in sixth form because I started to discover different things. And then I went off to university.
Okay.
But I suppose when you're saying what did you want to be when you were younger, I always wanted to be a solicitor.
Right, okay, wow.
But then I went for a university trip down to Leeds University and sat in on all of that and thought, that sounds like a lot of work. And my friend, one of my good friends on the bus was talking about how he was going to do marketing, so I thought, oh, well, that sounds good. So I ended up going to do marketing.
Right, brilliant. Where was that at Leeds, was it?
No, Northumbria, sorry. So I've always stayed local. I haven't travelled or anything for.
So you didn't do the uni, the whole...
I didn't know. I lived with my mates that I went to school with.
Yeah.
So I just literally obviously attended university in Northumbria, and the rest of my life was just like it was before I went there, I suppose.
Great. What about yourself, Bronia? So growing up in Blythe, what did you want to
yeah.
become when you were a little girl, I guess?
All right, okay. So for me, I came from quite a deprived background, single parent family. So for me, it was from pretty early on, I was told, you're not going to university. So I did want to be an art teacher, but I thought, well, I can't go to university, so...
Are you quite creative yourself, or?
Am I what, sorry?
Quite creative yourself?
Yeah. That was the one thing, actually, I was good at.
Right.
Unlike Andrew, school was not as easy for me. So I got some B's, C's, but no A's. There was no A's in the equation. Went on to do A-level business, and I would have liked to have gone into marketing as well at that point. But what I did was just go and work for various government agencies. Did a degree, actually did my bachelor's later on in life.
Brilliant.
In my 30s. And
was that a distance degree, or did you go to uni?
It was Cumbria Uni, but delivered through Northumberland College.
Right, okay, great.
So I did that one night a week while working full-time and having 2 children to look after.
Amazing.
So yeah, it was quite difficult, but I achieved it. And then, so that was working with children and families, that degree.
Okay.
So I've always been passionate to go and kind of do something with children and families. It's just never been on the agenda up until it could hopefully come in now.
Has kids always been the main kind of focus that you think you wanted to help? Or?
It's well, with us coming from a disadvantaged background, living in a deprived area, I've always been quite passionate about that as well. So it's if I can amalgamate the two somehow. I suppose it could be quite a broad spectrum what we do, but I definitely would love to work with families.
Oh, great. Oh, thanks. And Andrew, so you went to uni. After uni, what did your kind of career look like, working life? What was...
I went into sales, basically. Yeah. So I did sales for...
Was that door-to-door or...
No, B2B.
Okay.
I started in like a document storage, selling document storage for a company in Eshet in Northumberland, storing people's documents in like old farm shed buildings. And then I went on to do enterprise rent-a-car as like their trainee management schemes. So I did that for like 5 years, and then I ended up in the tyre industry, which is where the majority of my background to date is. I went and joined a Goodyear, and I've been in.
Was that in a sales role as well? Was it? Or?
Yeah, it's always been like sales kind of roles. It's been that was kind of my background for the last 10, 15 years, I would say.
And other than the venture at the moment, is that kind of where you're at the moment? Are you still within that industry? Or?
A little bit. I mean, I stepped out of the industry a few years ago, maybe it's about 6 years ago, and I started up a couple of my own businesses. And then that didn't work out, and then I went back into it. And I'm still like part-time in it at the moment. But I also have another venture that I do myself, which involves that, which is taken off at the moment. So I'll probably always have an affiliation with that industry.
Could have dropped the name of your business.
Yeah, drop the name. Tell us about your business.
Well, I've got a business called Talk Up Media.
Okay.
And the idea behind that was obviously all that time I've spent in the automotive industry. It's highlighted how far back that industry is in the digital media kind of area. So I've started up a company that focuses on that, which has had quite a bit of success, only starting back in November. Brilliant. So yeah,
so you got your hands full, to say the least, haven't you?
Yeah, a bit at the minute.
Yeah, definitely.
What about yourself, Bronia? What do kind of work look like for yourself?
Okay, so started in kind of manufacturing companies in sales and supply. Then I moved into the prison service. Spent 10 years there. Came away from the prison service after I did my degree and worked a little bit in schools as a teaching assistant, but that wasn't the right...
Is that primary or secondary or...?
Primary. So I tried 3 different schools,
and
it just, being a teaching assistant wasn't the right path for me. So I went, where did I go? Then I went to Northumberland College in Business Solutions, and worked with the apprenticeship team. That was quite good. So I was working a lot with disadvantaged groups then, so people that weren't in employment, quite like that. Redundancies came out, so that kind of put an end to that. Then I went to Sainsbury's as a manager, being in like 6 different Sainsbury's, in charge of petrol stations and hundreds of people.
It's a bit of a segue, that might, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I thought I'll try something else. I think I can do that.
Yeah.
And blagged my way through that. And then had Noah, who is now 2, and thought, I don't want to work every weekend. And night times and early mornings. So then I went back to prisons.
Oh. I thought you were going to say went back to prison there for a
Not
moment.
back to prison.
What is it you do in prison?
Not resign
prisons?
there.
What is it you do in the prison?
I am a wellbeing officer.
Ah, okay,
so
that must be really interesting.
it is. So I go through 7 different prisons, working on social isolation. So we have groups where we just get people together. It's really nice.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. And is that you still there at the moment? Yeah.
I am at the moment. Yeah.
Great. Okay. Brilliant. No, thank you both for sharing that. So the one thing I'm picking up definitely from yourself, Bronia, both of you, but is this kind of coming from a disadvantaged background that you really want to. You've seen the challenges, I'm guessing, and you've seen maybe the opportunities that you maybe didn't have.
Yeah,
is
definitely.
That probably fair to say?
100%.
Okay, good. So tell me a little bit about Time for Action.
I'll let you do that.
Well, Time for Actions kind of came about.
How new are we, by the way? How
we literally have just filled out the form to become a CIC.
Okay, right.
We've been working on it. I would say maybe it's about 6+ months.
Yeah.
The idea of it, which kind of come from obviously. I think that's where we ended up blending with the whole that we could end up having a business together and work together, because obviously Bron's got that passion for working in them areas I just talked about before, and I've kind of about 6 years ago, I went through something that gave me a bit of a redirection in life, and I did a bit of coaching and done some qualifications. And I kind of wanted to try and start helping people. But I got into the coaching, and it ended up being more like I was helping people who could probably can afford to have a coach. And it kind of wasn't fulfilling me, because I wanted to do the whole idea of doing coaching was that I could help Joe Bloggs, who maybe he's worked in a supermarket or something like that, that could help him build his confidence and things like that. So,
without using the pun of the podcast, it is chicken and egg though, isn't it? Genuinely, it's it's you're right. You want to help people, you want to coach, but with respect to the people who can pay for it, I'm not saying they don't need help, but they've already got a bit of an advantage over the other people in the first place. Totally get that.
And that's kind of where it came from, was that idea of how we came across obviously the idea of a CIC and thought, well, this is quite a good thing for us.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't really familiar with the CIC.
No, well, neither was I. No.
And the truth is, not many people are. If you go out in the street right now and say, "Tell me what a social enterprise is," I'd imagine 9 out of 10 of them will be like, "I don't know what you're talking about." It's still the real unknown, isn't it? I guess. Yeah. And then people who might have a bit of knowledge. Well, are you a charity? No.
No.
All right. So what do? Do you have to? Can you take a wage? Well, yeah. And people just don't get it. Yeah. So there's a lot of work in that. But,
Yeah, it was like we said, it was an eye opener to us. We never knew these kind of things existed, and it seems to align. At the time, it was aligning right forward, so that's why we've pursued it.
And you'll see now they're everywhere. I mean, even where we're sat right now,
definitely.
There is probably 15 social enterprises based in your eye line.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, there's about 6 or 7 based here. There's one next door. There's one over the path there. When you went around the roundabout, there was the Co-op, Sunshine Co-op. That's a social enterprise. Pop Rex, that's a social enterprise. There's so many everywhere. People doing good.
Yeah.
What we find is they actually appear and pop up in more deprived areas, generally speaking, because that's the gap.
Yeah, that's where they're needed.
Want to help, isn't it? Good. So with the new venture, so you had an idea that you wanted to give back and help. Is that kind of the reason it kind of came about?
Yeah, 100% it is. It's where we see obviously there's a lot of people struggling, and we've gone through our own struggles, both individually, and I think those struggles that we've both gone across cover quite a broad spectrum for us to be able to help quite a lot of people in different ways, and that's Time for Action is for us. It's something that's going to be kind of it's going to have a big mental health, kind of mental fitness element to it, and then it's hopefully going to have obviously a big bit of a coaching kind of side to it, try and create some good positive tribes that are going to help lift people. And that's kind of our inspiration, is to try and do as much good with lifting people to achieve what they want to achieve and get them out of them places that they might be stuck in at the moment, and see that other people have got through that, and give people hope.
Do you know what? I think what you said, you've both had your own challenges, and I think that makes you plausible and makes that you're real, and that helps people, doesn't it? Yeah. Because it doesn't happen so much nowadays, but there's nothing worse than you need to go and see a counsellor or a psychologist, and it's, with respect, somebody who's gone through uni, they're probably on 50, 60 grand a year, they've got a big house, they might have had challenges, don't get me wrong, but generally speaking, they're probably haven't in comparison. They don't get what it's like to maybe be at the bottom or be near the bottom.
I think that's what helps me working in the prison service, because a lot of the people I work with have had the same background as me. Just unfortunately, they didn't make the same kind of decisions that I might have made, and I've gone a different way, and they have ended up in the prison system, just going round and round.
And I guess that's kind of where
just really sad.
Yeah, where your business, I guess, is hoping to come in, isn't it, and be that crossroad. I'm assuming, is that right?
Well, we're hoping to be quite preventative in some respects, and you would say reactive.
Yeah, I think like on the preventative side, it's kind of like, I mean, I got to 36 when my life turned up a bit side down.
Do you want to talk about it, Andrew, or?
Well, I mean, I lost everything and ended up, like, I'd had quite a successful career. Obviously, I'd had a good childhood. I'd never been through any trauma. I got to 36 without having to face anything really that difficult in life. And then, obviously, my world kind of fell apart around me. Okay. And what I realised then was, yes, I've got a very good education, things like that, but nobody's ever taught me how to deal with emotions,
like emotional resilience.
And I ended up being like in depression, suicidal, all these kind of things that I never could comprehend. At one point in my life, I used to look at, and I'll be honest with, and I always try to be with people, I used to look at that mental health thing as an excuse for a person that was weak. When I was just trying to be this high achiever.
I think that's quite common. I think lots of us. I'm not sure if guilty is the word, because I don't think people mean anything by it. I think it's quite common.
If you haven't been in that situation, you wouldn't understand, would you?
Yeah, totally get that.
So the idea is obviously how do we try and get like, and especially on like the kind of direction Bron will take, it'll be like how do we get to these the kids and the younger families, guys to be able to kind of show them about, like, make them understand that they're not their thoughts and these kind of ideas. And then obviously there's that's the kind of preventative kind of area that we want to do. And then reactive, you've got to be reactive because there's a lot of people struggling. And that's where I feel like the coaching side comes in. So if we can get out there and help people in these groups, like obviously Bron's got the connections to the prisons. I did a day in Frankland doing, like, it was kind of like a mental fitness talk, but it was kind of coaching thing, and that kind of opened my eyes. Because I mean, just in the prison section, there's a lot of people in there just because they made a bad decision in a moment of emotion, and that's something that people aren't educated about. And it's how you start having conversations with people and opening that up for people to start really kind of understanding things and show them some techniques to stop them making that one wrong movement.
And the feedback was really good, and it's so surprising because we're so aware about these things, but some of those people had no idea about the things you were talking about, and it was like such an eye-opener to them.
Do you know what? You probably don't realise how much of an impact you might have made on somebody, isn't it? You know, that one spark, you save one life, make somebody make a better decision, and then, you know, what a great thing that is to do, isn't it?
Oh, 100% it is, yeah.
Do you find that when we're talking about mental health and other challenges in the world, and do you think men are kind of disproportionately affected, or would you not say so?
Well, I mean, that was my personal kind of mission, was because I was a 36-year-old 6'5" Geordie. It was like when I started like a blog, when I kind of started to come to these realizations, and I was very fortunate because I read like 100 books. Like that's something that I'm privileged, because I've had an education, I can do that. I read these books and then started to see something. So I started a blog talking about it because I thought that'll have hopefully that'll have an effect on somebody, that they see this big guy who's just talking about things that normally you don't see a big guy talking about. And it was very much the male thing that drove me for a long time. And it's still something which, with this CIC, I think if I take a hold of something, it'll be like to try and get men in industry, things like that, to try and talk to them more. Have a guy that's worked in their industries before and just say, like, talk to them about the struggles I went through, because I had these opinions and things like that, and I didn't want to do it. I didn't want to open them. I bottled everything, and it's like, I think there's something to be said when you've got a guy who can sit in front of you and say, I used to think like this, I was that person, and this is my experience that I went through, which any of yous could go through. Of course. And this is where I've come out the other end. So, like, can you, like, that's how do we get them to understand that so they don't make them same mistakes, really?
Yeah. Toxic masculinity is something that kind of people talk about quite a bit, isn't it? And kind of the fact that men feel like they have to bottle things up and have to be a man. I mean, that's changed a lot over the last 10, 15 years, I would probably say. But, Yeah, I totally get it. I was in the armed forces, and you know, so many people. It was a bit like you know, they talk about, you know, mental health. It's not a real thing. It's weak, yeah. And it's so damaging to us as a society, isn't it? That's the way that we've lived for so long. Yeah. It's scary, isn't it? Really.
Yeah. But like you say, it has come on, I mean, leaps and bounds when it comes to the men's side of it. I mean, obviously, you've got all these great groups like Andy's Man Club and things that have started up in the making it a lot easier. But I think that's one of the things that why we want to do like a coach. For me personally, what I want to do a coaching level for on that men's mental health side is we've done a really good job to get to that point where we are now. Yeah. But how do we move the guys on that are in them places? Because I was there, that I was then opened up and stuff like that, and then it took me a good year to get back to the person that I was, and that's because I wasn't setting goals anymore. I wasn't doing all these things, and it's like that's where for me it's like you get the guys to start opening up, being more in touch, realise that it's okay to do it, but then how do you help that guy then turn his life back around again? And that's the skills that I got from going through my coaching qualification when I was in the midst of it. That thing got me back up on the top and got me back out the door to going after something else. Great. And I kind of think that's an aspect that would be a good bolt on to that kind of movement that's happening now.
No, I think you're right. I think there's so many great organisations doing great work, but possibly with some of them, that's the piece that's maybe missing. I think you're probably right. So that's great. What about yourself, Bronia? Obviously, you've had challenges yourself. You've kind of mentioned. I guess that's something that you want to take into this new venture as well, is it? That real life experience and lived experience?
Yeah, I just want to provide people with opportunities to live the life that they want to live and not be pigeonholed into, well, you come from here, your family situation is this, you are living in poverty, so this is going to be your outcome. And unfortunately, that is how you can be perceived. Oh, of course, I can remember a teacher telling me when I was probably middle school that basically I would never get a job and I would just end up in the same situation that I'd, like a product of my environment. Yeah. So for me, I just want to get rid of those kind of stigmas, because it doesn't have to be that way at all.
Oh, I love that. I'm similar to you. I came from a council estate just down the road, a place called Hendon, quite a famous place. Even up from Sunderland, it's quite a deprived area in many ways. And you know, I was the first person in my family to go to uni and all these, and I love that, because I showed that actually you can do it. You can. Anyone can do it. You can do what you want to do. Yeah. You know, you might have been dealt a tough hand, but you know, pick them up and crack on and try something.
It might be a bit harder. I think for myself it was a little bit harder, because I was basically told, my mum said, you're not going to uni, you need to go to work, you need to bring some money in. So it took a different route, because ideally I would have went straight to uni, and it is a little bit harder, but you definitely can do it, and it's character building. It makes you really resilient. I think.
So new ventures. So you've mentioned some of the things, your aims, and kind of what you're looking to do. So physically, what does that look like then? Is it kind of one-to-one sessions you're going to be doing with people, and do they pay for that? I'm guessing you're going to hopefully get it funded if you can. I'm assuming, is that right? Or?
I think there's going to be a few aspects to it. The way I view it would be there would be workshops. There would be one-to-one if that's required. There would be programs where it could be like a 6-week program. It just really depends on the need of the people that we're working with. And definitely would love to work in schools as well, which is another aspect of it. Or families within the prison service as well.
Capture them as they kind of coming through.
Yeah, definitely.
A point of breaking, really, isn't it? I'm assuming.
I think we've got to obviously self-fund, so we do want to go after funding to try and do some of the more rewarding work with the sectors that probably can't afford to get that what we offer. So I mean, one of the things that we did with the CIC, we got the Boost grant. Yeah. So we used that Boost grant to get mental health first aid qualifications. Yeah. So the idea of that will be that we can offer that service to corporations, where hopefully we can obviously that money that we get there can help us fund to then offer that elsewhere.
The prison service, schools, it's endless really where you could take that.
And then obviously the coaching side, that's obviously a big thing of that would be like, for example, if we focus on the prison side, to go to these charities and things that look after the prisons and offer either a program that we can put guys through that are about to leave prison, for example. Yeah. So we can we've got a program put together called what's Pathway. And the idea is that you'll learn a certain amount of skills that will hopefully help you not make the decisions that you made the last time round to get where you are, and obviously hope to give them hope and inspiration that they can do better. So you could offer that, but you could also offer just the talks that when we go in and talk to people.
Yeah.
And then obviously in the community, it's kind of how do we set up, in an ideal world, it's like how do we get a male and female equivalent of like something that can bolt on to these mental health groups that people are going and talking about their problems, opening up, understanding that, but then it's like, well, where do you want to go next?
Yeah.
Well, there's this group over here where these can teach you a load of different skills, whether it be skills for mindset or whether it's skills for actually like well-being. You go to there and then you can actually start putting a plan together to rebuild your life from wherever that trauma in your life has taken you to, really.
Do you know what I really love? You're just so animated about it, you're so passionate about it. It's really good to see.
I'm really quite excited about it, you know.
Good. Yeah, you should be. You know, you're going to help a lot of people, you know, and it's probably one of those things where you don't even know you've helped some people, you know, but just by even talking here today, talking about resilience, talking about, you know, not being held back by lack of opportunity. So the question I have for you is, with yourself, Bronia, if you went back all the way back to Blythe and you met yourself as a little girl making her way through life, in a single parent family, what piece of advice would you say to yourself?
Oh, it would really just be to not listen to the negativity and choose a path, and you can absolutely achieve anything you want to. That's what I would tell myself.
Love that. What about yourself, Andrew? With you, I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll go back to just before you had some of your challenges. You know, you kind of gone through life. Life was pretty all right. And then if you could find yourself just before that cut-off point where everything maybe was a bit more difficult, what would you say to yourself?
I think the big one would be really to ignore all of those societal expectations. Yeah. Because the big thing for me was when everything fell apart at 36 and I lost it all, it was kind of like, I'm 36, I'm done. Because in my head, I had to have a house by the time I was 30. I had to be doing this, I had to be doing that. And them thoughts were the things which bolted on the other things that were happening were probably sending me really low. I was thinking my life was over at 36. Now I'm 41 and I'm thinking like I've got endless possibilities, and it's that mindset to give that person that just before that happens is no matter what's going to happen here, you can always get back up, brush yourself off, and go again. It's never too late.
Absolutely love that. No, thank you for sharing. I think that's really, really wise words. We'll definitely clip that bit up because that's great. So thanks for that. I'm coming to the end of the end of the pod now. So in terms of kind of where you're at the moment, and if you can, you know, ask somebody for a little bit of help or support right now, or if you could offer some support, what would you like to say to the people watching?
Personally, I would love some more links in the community that's mental health based. I am looking at some at the moment, and obviously would love some money. So if there's any funders out there that think this sounds amazing, pass it out.
Just give them it all. Yeah,
I don't know if there's anything you want to add.
What about yourself, Andrew?
I think for me, if there's anybody out there that's thought of the thing that I've obviously when I'm talking about that is there a group of guys out there now that would like to trial our pathway program, and I would do that completely free at the moment, obviously to build up a bit of, if they give us some feedback and things like that.
Great.
But just some guys that would be really interested in just going on a bit of like maybe it's like a 90-day journey where we can start to show them what this program can actually do.
Great, love that. So there you heard it here first. You see, if you want to take part in this pilot, give them a shout. We'll leave all the links underneath in the comments. Great, honestly, it's been great. Thank you so much for coming in. And see, it's flown over, hasn't it? How good was that?
I thought I was just going to be like...
No, great. Honestly, thank you so much. The final thing for us to say really is thank you for coming on the Good Eggs podcast. And because you've been good eggs, I'm going to give you your very own good egg to take away.
Wow,
Cheers. Thank you so much. Thank you for coming in.
Thank you.
Keep doing what you're doing. Keep smiling. It's the beginning of the journey, and I think you've got a lot to offer. It's going to be really exciting seeing where you get
exciting.
Smashed it. Attracted. Brilliant. Thanks very much. Cheers. Thank you.
Cheers.